E.N.D here. Villains are agents of chaos. They don't break rules, they shatter the foundation of order. Their ambition isn't merely to defeat heroes, it is to dismantle everything those heroes stand for. They thrive in destruction, where flames rise, cities crumble, and hope fades. To them, chaos isn't collateral damage, it is the ultimate goal. Watching the world burn while they smile in the shadows is their idea of victory. And now, thanks to the Marvel and Magic the Gathering crossover, that chaotic fury erupts on the battlefield through a brand new mechanic: Mayhem. Mayhem is a new ability, a set introduced in Spider-Man that allows you to cast a card from your graveyard for an alternative cost if you discarded it that turn. If you cast it this way, you pay the Mayhem cost rather than the mana cost. Mayhem doesn't change when you can cast a spell, so if you discard a sorcery on an opponent's turn, you cannot take advantage of Mayhem. To cast a spell using the Mayhem mechanic, you're going to need a way to discard cards. Maybe your opponents will play along and force you to discard a card. If that happens, you can turn the tables, discard a card with Mayhem and cast that card. It's kind of like you never had to discard it at all. On the other hand, there are plenty of reasons why you would want to discard a card yourself. You might be able to reap the reward of something that requires you to discard a card while still getting to cast it with Mayhem. But how to play Mayhem? Let's build our battlefield and let's say that this area is our graveyard. And I'm going to cast Grab the Prize. Grab the Prize for 1 and 1 red. As an additional cost to cast the spell, discard a card. Draw 2 cards. If the discarded card wasn't a land, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. And I'm going to discard Raging Goblinoids. Raging Goblinoids. 4 and 1 red. 5/4 with haste. Mayhem 2 and 1 red. Because I discarded a card with Mayhem, I can cast that card for the Mayhem cost during the turn. Very important, during the turn. Therefore, I can cast it during my main phase or second main phase. If the turn ends, you cannot cast it from your graveyard using the Mayhem cost. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay 2 and 1 red, the Mayhem cost of Raging Goblinoids, and cast it from my graveyard. Any spell with Mayhem, it's a normal spell, therefore when casted, it will go on the stack. There can be a counter, there can be a response, nothing happens and it will hit the battlefield. Scenario 2. During your turn, an opponent plays Piracy Charm, forcing you to discard a card. And again, I'm going to discard Raging Goblinoids. As I discarded Raging Goblinoids during my turn, in my main phase or second main phase, I can cast Raging Goblinoids for the Mayhem cost. But remember, Mayhem doesn't change when you can cast a spell. Therefore, if my opponent casts Piracy Charm during my end of turn, I cannot cast Raging Goblinoids for the Mayhem cost. Scenario 3. My opponent casts Thoughtseize, forcing me to discard Raging Goblinoids. As it's not my turn and Raging Goblinoid is only a creature, I cannot cast it during my opponent's turn or my next turn. On the other hand, if it was an instant or had flash, yes, I can cast it during my opponent's turn. Some notes: Mayhem is quite similar to Madness, but it has 3 major differences. The cards are put directly into the graveyard and trigger abilities for doing so, rather than being discarded into exile. The cards don't have to be cast immediately. The cards still follow normal timing restrictions, unlike how Madness allow them to be cast whenever they are discarded. So that's how you play Mayhem, a very interesting mechanic for those players that want to watch the world burn. Leave me a comment below. What do you think about this new mechanic in Spider-Man? And as always, subscription buttons here. Subscribe to my channel for more and more interesting videos about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world. Liliana.